Like, yes, I have felt extremely low. I have felt suicidal. I have felt depressed, anxious. Yeah, I felt like God literally came into my situation, came into my room, came into my hospital room, and helped pull me out of the situation that I was in.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Desiree, and I am one of the pastors here at Broadway. And today I'm so excited because we are here with one of my best friends, someone who I love so much, the young adults pastor here at Broadway, Pastor Sydney. Sid, how are you doing today?
I am good. I'm so excited to be here.
Fun fact that maybe not a lot of people know is that Sid and I actually went to Bible college together. Yeah, that was fun.
It was really fun.
Okay, so I thought to start off, just so we can all get to know each other a little bit, maybe we could play a game, all right?
Yes, I'm into that.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I am going to say a word, and I would like you to tell me the first thing that you think of.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay, you got this. God.
Holy Spirit.
Good answer. Coffee.
Tea.
Yes.
Yes, I'm a tea addict.
Makeup.
Guru.
Dog.
Alaska. Who's my dog at home?
So cute. Milk.
Lactose intolerant.
Yeah, and we can both relate to that.
Struggles, yes.
Young adults.
Passion.
And the last one, cherries.
Okanagan.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So
Sid.
fun.
Okay, well, to start off, I wanted to ask you, how would you describe your first experience with God?
Hard to say my first experience, but I grew up where I was going to church. I was praying to God. Like, I knew that he was real, but it wasn't until like later on in high school where I actually felt like, God, I want to have a relationship with you. In grade 10, we went on a missions trip to Mexico, classic like springtime missions trip. And we were worshiping one evening, and one of my friends, she was praying and she saw like angels all around the guy that was leading worship. And it was so powerful. And she came back to our room afterwards and she was just in tears, and our leaders kind of surrounded us. And I realized the spiritual realm and Jesus and God, like, it's so real. And that was the first time it clicked for me. So ever since then, my interest with Jesus just was heightened, and my relationship grew from there.
That's cool. It's cool how it kind of went from this place of just knowing about God, just being around church, but to really knowing him, not just hearing about him.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings me into my next question of, when did you first feel the call to ministry?
I went to Bible school, like you were saying, and my first year at Bible school, at the very end of that year, I felt a very clear message from God. It was almost tangible. And I felt like he was saying to me, Sydney, you're called to work with people. And now, years later, as I've been processing my relationship with God, I've realized like that was the Great Commission in Matthew 28, like go make disciples, like dealing with people. But then further than that, in 2017, I would say that was when my call was like heightened. So it was one of my final years at Summit, our Bible school. And my whole world was honestly rocked at that time. My whole life was shifted. And I heard God call me and ask me to go into the local church and to serve. And I didn't know what that meant. But as I started moving forward, doors just kept opening, and Broadway was amazing. And I was able to start like a small job here, and doors had just kept opening. And little did I know, like I had no idea I was going to be a pastor, like zero idea I was going to be a pastor. But I felt like God was just giving me these opportunities, and I'm just so thankful for that's the story that happened for me.
Yeah, that's cool. I think sometimes when we think about ministry or missions or anything like that, even just other jobs, we think, oh, it's going to be so obvious. It's going to be this really big moment. God's going to speak to me. But I love how you're sharing that it was just God opening one small door for you at a time, and as you walk through in obedience, he opened the next one and the next one.
Yeah, it was exactly like that.
Yeah, cool. Okay, and just in ministry and in life, we know that things can be challenging. There can be a lot of ups and a lot of downs. And so I was wondering, what is the most challenging situation you have faced?
Oh, the most challenging thing that I've dealt with is actually pretty recent. But it's also been throughout my life. So I'll explain a little bit. So when I was younger, I started to experience a lot of different health issues, specifically migraines. And if you have dealt with migraines, or anyone, you know it just takes over your whole body. And I experienced my first one in elementary school. So I was really small, really scared. And ever since then, I've had at least 1 to 4 migraines a month. And with age, like with me getting older, my symptoms just got worse and worse and worse. And I went to the doctors, I went to specialists, I can't even tell you how many doctors I've seen in my life. And there was 0 answers. Like all my tests always came back good, which is a good thing. But when you're in pain and when you're dealing with things, like, it actually really sucks. It really is hard to hear that there actually isn't anything wrong with you, but your body is dealing with so much. And so anyways, that affects your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, everything. And when I got older, everything was just kind of getting worse and worse. And so a couple summers ago, I ended up in the hospital just with a super bad migraine. And my blood work got flagged. And so something came up on my blood work, which wasn't normal. So my GP, my family doctor, called me in and we kind of went over my tests. And I noticed that my platelets were super high, like super, super high. And he's like, okay, let's look over your past 8 blood work or whatever. He wanted to look through it. And he noticed there was a pattern. My platelets have been insanely high in my blood. And he's like, okay, let's take you to a blood specialist and kind of figure this out. So long story short, I went to the blood specialist and she said she was about 95% sure that I had this rare chronic blood disease. Wow. So yeah, I think it was like in the fall of 2020, she came back from all my tests that I got and she said, yeah, Sydney, you have a rare form of blood cancer. Now, at 24, I was absolutely shocked. You don't expect to hear that you have cancer at such a young age. And I'm not gonna lie, it was really challenging, but I have this part inside of me that's like a fighter. And so I said, okay, well, this is fine. This is my life. I can't do much about it. So for a couple of months, I was just pushing through. I had to try to figure out chemo medication. I was getting on all these doctors' appointments and lists, and it was a lot to deal with. And so, yeah, it was very challenging, but I would say the hardest thing for me was in January 2021, I guess. I got super sick. We were trying a different chemo medication and it ended me up in the hospital for like a week. And the doctors were just trying to figure out, what can we do? Because this is going to be a lifelong diagnosis for me. So what medication can I be on? And it was after that time that I had to take a short-term medical leave from work, from everything. And it was a time in my life, I just got married. I started my master's. I was doing well at work and I felt like everything just crashed in front of me. And it was really hard. It was a hard pill to swallow, for sure.
Sid, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. That sounds like a lot of things to actually having to walk through.
Yeah.
A lot of ups and downs in that, and a very long process.
Yeah.
And that being said, through everything that you've gone through with what you've just shared, have you ever thought about giving up?
That's a very raw, real question for sure, because giving up can mean a bunch of different things. But for me, I I did feel like giving up, especially when I was just coming out of the hospital and I was just feeling so low. I was feeling so devastated that this was my reality, and I sat with that. And I sat with that sadness and that grief. I felt like I was grieving like the loss of a normal life, because with this blood cancer, like other things come with it. Like it could affect so many things in my life. Actually, like I know it will affect it. And so I had to go through the process of grieving what I wanted my life to be like, in a sense. And I sat with that for a while. And I'm just so thankful that I'm a Christian. I'm someone that knows Jesus and loves Jesus and lives my life for him, because I wasn't able to stay in that place for too long, which was such a blessing, because I felt like God literally came into my situation, came into my room, came into my hospital room, and helped pull me out of the situation that I was in. And he was saying, like, Sydney, it's okay. Like, your life is going to be okay. I have made promises to you, and I'm going to fulfill them in your life. And there was moments that I was depressed, I was sad, I was low, but I was able, with the community around me too, I think that's a huge part too that helped me get out of that low state. But long story short, yes, I have felt extremely low. I have felt suicidal. I have felt depressed, anxious.
Thank you for sharing. And something that I really love is that you're just being so honest and vulnerable and using what you've gone through to help other people. And that being said, you shared a lot about grief and devastation and kind of feeling stuck and some feelings of depression. And I'm wondering if you could give a sentence of encouragement to someone who's maybe experiencing some of those similar, maybe not even the same situation, but some similar feelings. What would you say to them?
We all deal with grief. We all deal with pain in our life. And I would want to challenge you. I encourage you and invite you to stop and allow Jesus to meet you where you're at, to meet you in your grief and in your pain, maybe in your diagnosis, and find contentment. And I know that sounds really weird, but I encourage you to find contentment in the life, in the body that you have. And that really helps me when I've been in those low places.